What up guys, it is Justice here and welcome to another video on my channel. And as you can see, I am currently melee switching into a drygore KO time. I'm currently soloing it as well because my teammate died, so I'm just going for it now full on with my Zerk, hoping I can hit. And as you can see, I'm hitting extremely hard with Destroy there. I'm probably going to try and use an Assault now. Yep, let's whack out an Assault, and there is Darragh completely destroyed. Complete solo from 50k right down to 0k life points. So that's pretty quick, and this video is around this topic. So it's around melee switching at different boss monsters. So we've got Rise of the Six, we've got Araxxor coming up soon, and Vorago. So with Rise of the Six, the best time when taking a melee switch is where you know there's going to be one melee brother left at the end. This could be maybe you've got Carol and Aram on one side and you know you've got Darragh right at the end. It's always nice just to have drygores there because it's extremely effective, and you will DPS the most now. Melee does have the highest damage output when you're in Zerk mode. However, it does only last for 20 seconds and you do have to take full advantage of it at prime times within a boss fight. So that was a prime time for Rise of the Six. So definitely guys, be taking your melee switch to Rise of the Six at certain rotations where you can really take advantage of it. One of the prime times to use melee within ROTS is when you know you've got Darragh at the end, because you would have left Darragh with 50k life points or at least very high life points, because you're not going to want to have got damaged within the fight. So it's nice just to whack on Zerk right at the end there to reduce Darragh's life points down as quick as possible. You can also take advantage of it at Araxxor, as you can see here. And as you can see, the current armor switch I've got at the moment is the helm, top and bottom, and then obviously the main hand weapons and offhand weapon for drygores. However, I would recommend maybe taking a boot switch as well, and maybe a cape switch as well, because it does reduce your accuracy when you don't wear the correct class of armor. So again, Araxxor, you've saw the video of this meleeing Araxxor. The best method here probably is to start off with Zerk at the beginning of phase 4, and then when you get close to 25k, just whip out a few thresholds, maybe a massacre. Now onto Vorago. Now, many of you have probably watched my melee obliterates Vorago, and that was an epic video moment to capture. That was just awesome. And so I decided as well, melee switching now due to the update with drygores is not only good in phase 5 at times, it is in fact, if you want to try and max out your DPS on phase 2 for the laugh of it, then you can take a melee switch and you can really take advantage of it in phase 2 at Vorago if you exploit it. So I'm going to walk you through phase 2 now, what you should be doing with a mage DPS setup and switching to melee. So right at the beginning when you go into Vorago, use a couple of thresholds, your wild magics, your asphyxiates, and your mage tendrils as well. And then once it's onto the reflex stage here, just charge up. Make sure you try and charge up to 100% adrenaline, ready for the start of this second part of phase 2. So you start attacking Vorago. Within this section I use Sunshine, so you want to exploit Sunshine. It's a fantastic ability, and when you do have full Tectonic and Element Scrimshaw with a Supreme Runic Accuracy aura, this is in fact higher DPS than when you're melee switching. However, we did it for the fun of it, and as you can see here, I'm using Sunshine, and I'm going to use my basic abilities, use a couple of thresholds. Now just use your standard Sunshine rotation. This is no perfect rotation which I'm using at the moment, but just use your standard rotation which you're comfortable with, and then keep DPSing. Those criticals are beautiful until you need to get off. Now when you get off, a little tip, if you've not got any defensive abilities ready to use with your shield, or you've not got a shield, you can spam click on the floor whilst you're clicking your abilities, as long as you've still got a target, and that will charge your adrenaline up. Okay, so the second window of opportunity, at this point you want to be using your thresholds, a couple of thresholds, so your wild magics again, your tendrils and your asphyxiate, and then as soon as the Vokes are about to start, whip on your melee, as you can see me doing here. Quickly press or hold shift and then the number of your action bar, which is 5 for me to switch to your melee layout, and then obviously Zerk straight at the beginning. Start using your basic, Severe, and a few others. Decimate is extremely useful, and Havoc, the combination there, and make sure you get your Destroy out and Assault within your Berserk, and that'll make it worth it. And then of course right before the Reflect, you whack on your shield and resonance, and then use anticipation and preparation, just to keep your adrenaline boosted up. Switch back to your magic armor and weapon, which I'm using the Noxious Staff at the moment, and then start DPSing again. And at this point, because you have just used Zerk and everything, it's highly unlikely you would have timed it right to have Sunshine again. If you can, then great, but try and charge up to Sunshine as quick as possible, which shouldn't take you too long. Whack it on, use an Adrenaline Pot if you can. However, you probably would have used that on your Zerk rotation, which I highly recommend you doing. Use your basics again and go through your standard Sunshine rotation, making sure you're whipping out those thresholds. So again, it's about alternating between using magic and melee, and again, this is not required for phase 2 at all, because it's not DPS isn't needed, but it's for the fun of it. And if you want to try and, you know, max out your DPS on different phases for a laugh, maybe spice up the battle a little bit, because Vorago has been out for a long time now and you want to try something new, I'd highly recommend doing this. So again, I do have an opportunity here to Zerk again. However, this is the end of the phase now. At this point, I'm just going to use a couple of magic thresholds again, wild magic and asphyxiate. But the idea of this, guys, is just it's just a bit of fun, really. However, when you do want to start exploiting it, and when it comes in useful when you're melee switching, is on phase 3 on some rotations. Melee is extremely useful because if you Zerk, it does increase your damage output. Also phase 5, if you Zerk at the right moment again when the Vokes are beginning, then it comes in extremely useful again, because you're not getting hit by Vorago and you can seriously deal some epic damage if you watch my melee obliterates Vorago. So there's 24k experience drop there, or roundabouts, which I'm extremely happy about, and that just kind of proves what sort of XP drops you can get when still melee switching, and that was my first time melee switching as well. So yeah, guys, what I'll do is recommend you guys to go and give it a go yourself, have some fun at Vorago with some melee switching, and I'm going to end this video with a nice little slow motion clip of me using that exact setup here at Vorago in phase 2.